This is a podcast of 98FM's Dublin Talks. Remember, catch the show live Monday to Friday at 10 a.m.
98FM's Dublin Talks with Adrian Kennedy.
98FM.
Now, let's just talk for a couple of minutes about this new digital age of consent. The digital age of consent in Ireland is set to be 16. After the government's proposal for 13 was defeated in the Dáil. The government defeat means that social media giants such as Facebook and Snapchat may have to take measures to acquire parental consent for users it knows are between 13 and 16. And here's the question for you. The digital... that basically means that Facebook, Snapchat and so on, that young people between 13 and 16 will not be able to use it or will have to get parental consent. Now, would you give parental consent to your 13, 14 or 15-year-old to use Facebook? Probably yes. So what is the point in this? I know we're all about protecting our children. I know the logic behind it, but we live in an age where 13 to 16-year-olds are using social media. Anyhow, I don't see how this age of consent for online use is going to work. I just don't. Maybe somebody can explain to me. Our telephone number is 6797 981. Colette, you're on 98FM. How are you, Colette?
Hi, how you doing?
Colette, what do you think of this digital age of consent being set at 16?
Yeah, I agree with it.
You agree with it?
I agree with it, yeah. 13 years of age. Too many kids have committed suicide over.
And is that what we're trying to prevent? I
think they're trying to prevent this, the online bullying and what you call the predators online.
Yeah, no, I mean, I do agree that online bullying is a huge problem that probably affects 13 to 16-year-olds more than any other age group. And I agree that there are online predators that we need to protect our children against. But do you think that there are... Okay, let's imagine this scenario, and I want parents to have a think about this and give me a call. Facebook, let's say we bring in this digital age of consent, and in order for a young person to become a Facebook user, not that many of them are using Facebook anymore anyway, but anyway, to become a Facebook user, they need parental consent. Do you think many parents would refuse?
No, I say most parents that has children at that age, teenage, from they're very vulnerable at that age. I think most parents will agree with it. Some parents won't agree because they want to be in the cool category with their children. But me, I never wanted my children on Facebook or Instagram. I always looked at a monitor. But thank God they're at the age now where they don't bother with them anymore.
Yeah, but when they were younger, you probably didn't have much choice.
I didn't have much choice, no, and I used to crack up, and the father would crack up, and he did go behind your back to be in the bedroom with, and it's constantly all the time, and you don't know who's talking to them. And there was a friend, somebody too young for us was trying to get a friend with my child at 13, and we had to block it. So I agree with it.
You agree with it, but do you think in practice it's going to do anything? Because I don't. I can't see how...
They'll find a way anyway. Kids are too clever.
That's the point I'm trying to make.
They'll find a way anyway because kids are too clever. Or they'll find somebody's parents that will pretend to be their mother and allow them to do it. You know what I mean? Kids are too clever today. They'll find a way.
Okay, stay there for 1 second, Colette. 6797 981 is our telephone number. Let me read this message that's just come in. We're talking about the digital age of consent being set here in Ireland at 16. Other countries have, by the way, set it at 16 as well. The Netherlands, Germany, but many other countries have set it at 13, which is what it was here in Ireland. We're asking whether or not this is ridiculous. Because... it just doesn't seem to make any sense because it's just not practical. Don't fool yourself, says this message. The reason tech companies ask for a digital age of consent is that it is not legal to collect information on children. So the easiest solution, Add a box on the user's side that they will have to click. That will cover the company from lawsuits. They can't stop people lying, and now they can continue collecting information without worrying about the legality. I can only assume non-tech savvy politicians have just jumped on the bandwagon here and have no understanding of the little actual effect it will have. I can't come on as I'm in work, says that person. Liz, you're on 98 FM. How are you, Liz?
Hi, now, brother.
Liz, you think parents are absolute idiots when it comes to knowing what their children are doing?
Most of them, yeah. When it comes to the social media, like, I mean, the amount of young kids going around with smartphones or tablets or whatever, and their parents haven't got a clue they might know either on Snapchat or they're on Instagram or wherever it is, but they don't know what they're doing on it because they don't check. You know what I mean? They think, because I have my child as a friend on Facebook, or I can see all they're doing, but they don't.
No, of course not.
So I just don't see how a law like this will be enforced, because the majority of them parents who have already bought a smartphone or a smart device for their child of 11 or 12 or 13, they're not going to turn around and say, I'm after buying this however much phone and not let you use it. No, they're going to give the consent, like.
Yes, I have to say, I can't see any parent. No, obviously there are going to be some parents, but when it comes, so say for example a young person, and I can't emphasise this enough for parents, if they think their kids are using Facebook anymore, they're away with the fairies. They've moved way past Facebook. And the reason, as one young person told me recently, the reason young people aren't using Facebook anymore is because their parents are on it. They want to have nothing to do with anything that their parents are on. So they're just not using it anymore. But anyway,
exactly. So.
Hypothetically, if a young person sets up a Facebook account at 13 and it asks for parental consent, I think the majority of parents will give it anyhow. So
exactly, so that it's never, and I don't even understand how they try and enforce the law like that. It's just, there's much more important things going on in the country, I think, than to be trying to pass ridiculous laws like this. You know, they could be discussing more important issues in the bill than laws that are never going to be enforced or that parents aren't going to pay any attention to anyway, because they already don't. You know what I mean? They already let their kids on social media things that they're probably not supposed to be on anyway.
And that's your point, that they're just so ridiculously uneducated about what their kids are actually doing.
Exactly. I mean, most of these apps all have an age limit anyway. I think it's 13 at the minute.
It is 13, yeah.
And so, I have a couple of nieces and nephews that are under 13 that are on it.
Yeah.
That I know myself that are on it.
And
my sisters have given permission for them to be on it because they talk to their cousins that way and their friends out of school.
But when you're setting up the account,
age limit changes, they know they have to put in a wrong age,
exactly.
a wrong date of birth,
and that's all
so
they've
that
ever
be allowed to have a profile.
That's all they've ever done. And when we're talking about, getting parental consent, I don't know about you or anybody else. I have never had to send my birth cert to Facebook to prove that I am am my age.
Any kind of ID to prove it.
You fill it out yourself. You fill out your date of birth if you want to, and if you're a young person, so you just fill out a date of birth. So even if the age of consent, or the digital age of consent, becomes 16, so you just say you were born in 2001. Grand,
exactly.
Done, sorted.
So there's no way of doing anything about it anyway. So I thought it was a bit pointless that they were even discussing it, and even had to have a vote to bring in this kind of law.
All right, stay there for a second. 6797 981 is our telephone number. What do you think about the digital age of consent? Is it a complete and utter waste of time? I happen to believe it is. I think it is so unenforceable, it's not funny. And as I said, the other day, I got a message on my WhatsApp, and it said, please verify that you were over 16, and all you had to do is press a little box. That was it. Sure, anyone could do that. It was just ridiculous. Ian, you're on 98 FM. How are you, Ian?
How you on, Adrian?
Good, thank you, Ian. The digital age of consent is 16. Is it pointless?
It's completely pointless. Like, what they should look at, and it's never going to be enforced in this country anyway, because nothing ever is, but how long is a piece of string? Like, instead of enforcing parents are going to look at this or, not get them access, because I just got that recently myself on WhatsApp. You just click a box, as you said.
And that was it.
What's the minimum age that a child should have a smartphone? there's kids going around 6, 7, 8 years of age with them.
Now, I have to say, rather than us talking about things like the digital age of consent, I think the conversation we should be having is about young kids having smartphones. And
how young should it be? Like my niece, I don't know kids myself, but my niece is going to make a communion on Sunday, and I'm pretty sure she's I think she's 8 now, or 8, 9, and she's not allowed to have a mobile phone until she probably like in secondary school, or like I don't know, like different parents are different, but some kids just have them way too young.
I agree.
So
I saw a kid in a pram yesterday. This is true, on the bus coming into work yesterday, yeah? A kid in a pram, probably about 3. And she was being entertained by playing a game on her mother's mobile phone.
Yeah, most kids play cartoons or something to keep them kind of quiet on the bus or whatever.
Okay, but the point being that by the time that young one gets to 6 or 7, she's going to want her own. That's what she'll want for her.
Or her friends will have them more, So it's just a matter of, parents do all they can to watch everything, but they can't.
Okay, so the digital age of consent is a complete waste of time. Where we should be looking at is the age at which it becomes legal for young people to own a smartphone.
But every parent will have different opinions with that. Some parents already gave their child a smartphone at 6 or 7 just to show off, or or be the first one in their class to say, "Oh, my Johnny or my Amy has a more smartphone to be cool with their friends," and it's just like. But you don't know what they're obviously doing on the phone. And when they get to like 8, 9 or 10, as the other caller says, they're so smart, they know nearly everything.
They do.
They can get around.
And they can get around everything. So, okay, we have laws about the age at which, you're meant to own violent video games, or the age at which you can drink or smoke. Should we have a law on the age in which you can own a smartphone?
Yes.
Yeah, all right, simple as that. And Aoife, you're on 98 FM. Hi, Aoife.
Hi.
Good, Aoife. What did you want to say?
I was just texting in to say that the digital age of consent is actually to do with sharing of pictures. So as it stands now, if a child over the age of 13 shares a picture of them naked, it's actually not a criminal offence for somebody to receive that picture because the child has consented. I remember when they were actually arguing this in the Dáil and the commission, and there was a load of parents on the People's Commission, and that's what they were discussing, was the fact that at this time now, over the age of 13, it's okay for children to send pictures to paedophiles, predators.
Let's say with this new digital age of consent, does it become illegal for a 14-year-old to share, say, a nude picture?
It becomes illegal for somebody else to receive them.
Okay, now, if I am a WhatsApp user, for example, and I just tick the little box, that tells WhatsApp I'm over 16. That tells all users I'm supposedly over 16. So the law is pointless.
Yeah, no, I do understand that part of it, but the reality is, when they do find pictures on people's phones or whatever, that now they cannot actually prosecute if that child is over the age of 13 and has sent it willingly.
Yeah,
supposedly.
But
now it will be illegal for somebody to receive them. So
how could it possibly be illegal when you're being told that everybody on WhatsApp now is over 16 when clearly they're not?
Well, obviously I had to do it myself, tick a box like that.
But that's all you had to do.
That doesn't confirm the age. But, if there is suspicions or somebody finds something on their child's phone that's not healthy, as it stands, if they're over 13, they have given consent. Whereas now, if they're under 16, they haven't given consent, and you can bring it to the guards and you can get a prosecution.
All right, it'd be interesting to see how it plays out. I for the life of me, can't see how the whole thing is going to be enforced.
I do understand. Yeah. I do think there needs to be more input into the actual enforcement of the law. That's kind of the Irish way. We'll bring in a law, but we won't actually enforce it, like learner drivers.
It is, I agree. All right, look, thanks very much indeed for your call, Eve. It's been great talking to you. This is 98 FM's Dublin Talks.
98 FM's Dublin Talks with Adrian Kennedy.
Weekdays from 10 a.m. on 98 FM.